Colton Underwood comes out as gay as Bachelor Nation floods him with support as ex-girlfriend Cassie Randolph reacts.
And for me, I've ran from myself for a long time. I've hated myself for a long time, and I'm gay.
We take a look back at our March 2020 interview with Colton, where he opened up about his sexuality.
I think it was very easy for fans and very easy for people to just, if they don't understand something or if they don't agree with somebody, they have to, in their mind, get from point A to point B. So point B is, oh, he's gay. That's why he's a virgin. He's just hiding it from us.
And Bachelor in Paradise stars Raven and Adam have officially tied the knot. Plus more from our chat with Peter Weber, and he reveals some jaw-dropping behind-the-scenes details.
So many times I was being given this the entire time. Like they wanted that. Like they literally were asking for that. And hey, if I was feeling it, the girl, I was gonna go in for it.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Here for the Right Reasons. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly Associate Editor Sarah Heron. Sarah, we got a lot to talk about this week.
I mean, I say it every week, Christina, but The Bachelor isn't on, but the world keeps turning, the news keeps coming out, and there were some shockers this past week, to say the least.
Serious shockers. So let's break it all down in our bracket of roses.
I mean, where else do we start besides Colton Underwood coming out as gay?
Obviously, like, this year's been a lot for a lot of people, and it's probably made a lot of people look themselves in the mirror and figure out who they are and what they've been running from or what they've been putting off in their lives. And for me, I've ran from myself for a long time. I've hated myself for a long time, and I'm gay, and I came to terms with that earlier this year and have been processing it. And the next step in all of this was sort of letting people know. Still nervous, but yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
I mean, I think when I first saw the promo of Colton Underwood speaks out, I don't know, I had no idea what to expect, but here was this bombshell tell-all interview, and it feels like he's finally free. He seemed like he was finally at ease and felt comfortable. And yes, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about this because of what happened with him and Cassie, but it seems like he's finally in a good place in his life.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that promo, my mind went to two places. I kind of thought it could be something like this,
right.
Because you hear things sometimes, but you never want to assume, and that's not our place. And another part of me was like, we haven't heard much from Colton since everything went down with Cassie. So we knew that, they had that very messy breakup. She had the restraining order from September till November when it was dropped, accused him of harassment, stalking, some not really, the court documents were very dark, and it was very sad and scary. And then we found out it was all dropped in November, and we haven't heard from him since. So my other thought was maybe it was going to be some sort of revelation about that and him kind of giving his side of the story or something, because we haven't heard from him. But this was obviously something. I totally agree with you. He definitely seemed really nervous, but then more at ease, and was talking about how he, spoke to his parents and close people in his life and his pastor. And this was the last step was the public, because we obviously watched his journey. Yeah.
I mean, it was so sad to hear, that he said that he was in such a dark place for so long that he contemplated suicide at one point. And, but The Bachelor actually helped him come out as gay, which probably people wouldn't probably put two and two together.
No, and I think, it was what really stood out to me was when he was talking about how when he was named The Bachelor, he prayed and thanked God for making him straight, because he thought that meant if, God was going to help make him the bachelor, that this was in his path and he was going to find a wife and have maybe a more traditional or what he thought he wanted in his life. And obviously that wasn't the case. And it really just had him push it down. And now, a little over almost a year, I guess, out of the relationship with Cassie, he did the work. I mean, everyone talked about how 2020 was just you couldn't hide or run from anything. We were all stuck at home. So it kind of makes sense that this is when it's coming out. I mean, he's 29 years old. He's lived a lot of life, and it's time, I guess.
Right. And, he said that he, apologized to the women for being on the show and, didn't really know how they would react. But it seems like everybody in Bachelor Nation is kind of flooding him with support. Chris Harrison came off of his social media, blackout, I guess, and he praised Colton for coming out. Tayshia said that she supported him, Hannah B. So it seems like he's got a lot of people in his corner.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you've had a few. I think Mike Johnson was one who was like, I feel for Cassie, because people are want to make sure that it's not forgotten, because it obviously was a very big deal, these allegations that were made against him. And like I said, everything was dropped, but you can't really forget, because it wasn't even that long ago. And
no, it wasn't.
They mentioned it a little bit in the interview, but I think they could have leaned into it a little more. He kind of, made it seem like he was holding on so badly to that relationship, to the idea that he could be a straight man and make this marriage or relationship work with Cassie, that he obviously went to a dark place and did things that he regrets and apologized for. But I just feel like they could have maybe leaned into that a little more. It felt a little glossed over for me.
I totally agree with you. It seemed like, you want to hear the reasons why he did that. Yes, like you said, he was kind of suppressing his feelings, but that doesn't really give you a pass for stalking somebody and putting a tracking device on their car. So I think a lot of people were kind of confused about why they glossed over that. Maybe it was something that, like he said, he didn't want to talk about. Maybe legally he can't talk about it. Yeah. Who knows? But, like Mike Johnson said, he definitely feels for Cassie. And a lot of people were wondering, what is she going to say? How is she going to react? Well, she, went on vacation, and she did post on Instagram kind of thanking everybody for their kind words, right?
Yeah, so we had heard that Cassie didn't know what this announcement was going to be. She was like the rest of us, tuning in to find out, which kind of feels shocking, obviously, since they were together for a decent amount of time and they went through a lot, but also, goes to confirm and show that they have not been in communication in a long time, which is probably for the best. Yeah. And then he confirmed that in the Nightline portion of the interview, that he did not tell her, he has not spoken to her. He would love to, but he has not had the chance to. And Cassie posted like a very generic thank you guys for, sending me love. Here's my YouTube channel, which I was like, what, girl, like you've had a rough week. I respect it. Like, people do want to know your thoughts, and it must be crazy to probably see like, the engagement she has on her Instagram, and she knows people are coming to her for her reaction. And it's a very, she, as sources told us, she's still processing. She doesn't know what she feels or thinks about any of this. And I mean, it makes sense that she still would be processing it.
Totally. It's a lot for her to handle. And I don't really feel like she owes us more than what she said. I really, she wants to put this relationship behind her. They're both moving on. And I mean, what more can she really say? I mean, she's just thanking everybody. And I don't know. Maybe years down the line, she'll kind of come out in a book about this, but I don't think for right now, I don't think that she's going to say anything else.
Yeah. The only thing I could see her doing is if we know this Netflix show, which I'm sure we're going to get into, is coming. And depending on what is said there, like if Colton, dives really into it, I could see her. Because when they had their back and forth over the summer before the restraining order, it was very much a clap back situation. And it was like, you did this, you made that comment, so I'm going to respond to you. And they went back and forth. Right. So I could see this was all more of like a happy, positive interview. And so if he says anything, or there's any sort of mention of her or her family or anything that happened, I could see her getting defensive. So I think that's the only reason, and she has every right to. So I think the only thing we would hear from her is if there are ever like negative things said about her or their relationship.
Totally. No, you're so right. Because remember, I think she did, like when The Bachelor was airing all the best of episodes, and she came on and she didn't really even say much about their relationship, but Colton was not happy about it. So that was a very messy split.
It really was. It was one of the messiest, and it took a turn that none of us necessarily saw coming. But now we're gonna learn more about it on Netflix, right?
Yes, we are. I mean, are you surprised that he is doing this whole Netflix documentary about this?
Okay, I feel a lot of ways about this. Part of me is confused just because I read Colton's book. We both interviewed Colton. He seemed a little burned by the reality TV gods, right? Like he talked about how his mental health was affected. Obviously, we know there was a lot more going on. But I think it's kind of an interesting thing to dive back in. He also noted in the interview that he's never had an emotional connection with a man yet. He's still exploring that. So to do that and potentially in front of a camera, because it's not a dating show, but if it's his journey, and you have Gus Kenworthy kind of being, I just was described as his quote, gay guide in an interview, maybe setting him up. I don't know, but we saw them out at a gay bar. There was photos of them being filmed. So for him to maybe date for the first time, date a man on a reality show doesn't necessarily make sense to me. But I also, total flip side, he maybe wants to take back this narrative. I mean, the only thing we've ever seen of Colton is him, dating women and being the Bachelor, and not necessarily, like he said, that's who I am, that I was being myself, but obviously there was a huge part of me missing. So if he wants to complete the story and put it out there, I get it. But it, to me, feels like a dangerous path to go back on the reality TV.
Totally. And we're going to see in the interview that you did with Colton back in March of last year, the reason why he wrote his book was to kind of take back his narrative as well. And so this could be, like you said, another reason why a lot of people are kind of arguing against the fact that, like, why are you giving this guy a platform who did all this stuff to his ex-girlfriend as well? A lot of people are even saying that because now there's chatter about maybe he would be the first gay bachelor if he would get another chance at that. So there's a lot of discussion going on. But yeah, I think, like you said, if you're like kind of exploring a new relationship for the very first time, maybe not on reality TV is probably the best way to do it. Like you saw how that kind of worked out the first time around. So I don't know. But
I don't know either. I mean, I'll be watching. I don't know if that's good or bad. And I've seen, like you said, fans are not necessarily thrilled with, Netflix giving him this platform, but they obviously feel that on the total other side of it, not, defending Colton by any means, but he is, a football player, The Bachelor, like has all of these male following, I assume, that he is now potentially reaching out to and shifting the narrative and helping a lot of people. So I think it's a very complicated situation. And I think for all those reasons, I do not imagine him ever being The Bachelor again.
I don't think so either.
But it should be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, and he's back on social media. He's posting again. Like you said, he was kind of MIA for Instagram from a very long time. But he said, life is good. He's the happiest he's ever been. So hopefully everybody can move forward and be happy and kind of live their best lives. So we wish them nothing but the best.
I know. I mean, speaking of, we have other happy news. Wedding bells are ringing.
We do. We have wedding bells for Raven and Adam. They officially tied the knot in Dallas after nearly a 2-year engagement. And I know you spoke to her a few months back and they had to postpone their wedding like 3 times.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was like over the summer. It was like COVID. There was still so much unknown. And she was like, the only thing worse than planning a wedding is doing it 3 times. And I feel like they are just so cute and pure and it kind of stayed out of the spotlight. And it feels like their season wasn't that long ago, but it was almost like 4 years ago or something. 2 years ago?
The 2017, like it's crazy. Like where does time go? But I think it was a very...
They didn't leave the show engaged. So it was like 4 years ago we watched them fall in love, then 2-year engagement. Like that's like a normal relationship and it's so nice to see them actually get married.
It is. And it was a very small ceremony. I think only 20 people attended. So it was much different than the lavish over the top wedding that they were planning on having. But she looked absolutely beautiful. And, they posted that they were on their way to Hawaii for their honeymoon. So I'm sure they're going to have a great time.
She still manages to get 2 dresses in for the small ceremony. She looked gorgeous. I mean, she is gorgeous. The pictures of them looking in each other's eyes. Like you just had to be like, oh, I'm all in on these 2. It was so cute. I know Alexis was there, who was Raven's partner in crime on The Bachelor, and they do their podcast together. So you'll love to see a little happy, clean little story. No drama there.
No drama there. So I'm glad that they finally got their wedding off. And they, like I said, they looked absolutely great. All right, let's move on to our cringe of the week, and that goes to Peter Weber, who is revealing some intimate details from his time on The Bachelor.
That's right. I caught up with Peter and his BFF and Bachelors in the City podcast co-host, Dustin Kendrick, and he was very candid when I asked him about being the bachelor who kissed the most women on night 1. I think I hit a nerve, and he got a little defensive and revealed some stuff about kissing on the show and producers that you might not know and some other regrets. Take a look. Peter, do you regret being the bachelor who kissed the most women on night 1?
Okay, I don't know if I actually am the bachelor that did that. I think
That's the title you were given.
My season, they showed it.
Everyone kisses
a lot of people. But I probably just played ball a little bit too much with the producers. But literally, like you don't see us off camera, like. So many times I was being given this the entire time. Like they were like, they wanted that. Like they literally were asking for that. And hey, if I was feeling it, the girl, I was going to go in for it. So
this is a podcast. Can you describe what this is?
Oh, this is like the sign that like, so either producers, if like they think it's a good time to kiss, they'll tell you to do this, like they'll tap their fingers, or they have their phone that says kiss. And
oh my God, I've never heard that before.
Behind the girl's head. The first night though, it's usually their names behind their head just to kind of remind me. And then it'll segue from that to, all right, you should do this. We think it's a good time. I was like, well, all right. And then I got labeled the most kiss bachelor, but
I think you stole Ari's title. Do you regret anything that went down in a windmill? Are you so sick of being asked about windmills?
That's literally, I don't think I'm ever going to lose that.
He's got a tattoo now.
Okay, no, that's a complete joke. I don't.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, no. It was just at that point in, my life, my relationship with Hannah was a great time. And, we had gotten to that point. So I don't regret that at all. Didn't think it would have blown up the way it did, but no, I don't.
Do you regret inviting your parents after the final rose, if you even invited them yourself?
I didn't invite. No, I don't have any say in that at all. I don't necessarily regret it. That was a very real moment. With my family, and again, it's part of the reason I love my family so much, because we can be so real and so honest with each other, and I think a lot of people appreciate that. So no.
This whole producers telling him when to kiss kind of blew my mind.
I mean, when he was saying it, he was doing the hand motion. I was I was like, is this common knowledge? I feel like it's not. And he was saying it very casually. And from the response I've seen, I don't think it was common knowledge. So I think he dropped a bomb he didn't know he was dropping.
No, he didn't. And then for him to also say that producers held up the names of the contestants as well, which is kind of really funny, but probably something that they would have to do in the beginning, because how can he memorize 30 names in an hour? But yeah, some crazy stuff.
It reminded me of Unreal, the show that talked about it and kind of was a scripted version of The Bachelor. And I was I feel like that's something they did on that show.
Totally.
And not Colton, Peter was saying obviously I kissed them if I was in the moment. He's not saying that he was forced to do anything, but I think he also was just so excited and filming the show. And he said, he was I think I kind of just played the game too much. I just fell for it and did it. And he's I don't know if they cut other bachelors making out with everyone, or I just fell for it every time, because he couldn't believe he had this title. He was I thought everyone did this.
It's amazing. It really is. I love learning these little secrets of behind the scenes, because at the end of the day, they are making a TV show, so they have to make it compelling and entertaining. And thank you, Peter, for giving us some dirt.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, everyone, if you want any more tea, you should go listen to that podcast episode with Peter and Dustin, because they were both pretty open about stuff you didn't see.
Totally. It was a good one. All right. Well, moving on to our Where Are They Now segment. And like we said, back in March of 2020, Sarah actually spoke to Colton around the launch of his book, The First Time Finding Myself and Looking for Love on Reality TV.
Right. And it was in the interview and in his book where he opened up about the fact that he was a virgin in the Virgin Bachelor label. And now he's saying that he could never really answer that question, because in reality, it was because he was gay, which he wasn't, open about with himself or anyone at the time. So this was Colton back in 2020.
I think the whole goal in the book was just to sort of take ownership back of my story. I feel like this last year has been so great, and I've been so appreciative of the Bachelor franchise for obviously introducing me to Cassie and everything that comes along with the business side of things, which is great. But I wanted to take ownership of my story, and that starts with the title, calling it The First Time. I know that they've had a lot of control over my virginity and sort of that storyline, and I just felt it was important that I sort of took that back, and I said, hey, yes, that might be the case, but there's a lot that I didn't share with you guys, and there's a lot because I didn't want to give it to a TV show to talk about. I wanted to keep it in my words, and I wanted to keep my stories. So that's what I chose to do. And I think looking back, the hardest part writing was definitely opening up and sort of talking about early on in grade school and even in high school getting called gay. And I think for people, because the only reason I say that too is because it came back up when I was a Bachelor. I think it was very easy for fans and very easy for people to just, if they don't understand something or if they don't agree with somebody, they have to in their mind get from point A to point B. So point B is, oh, he's gay. That's why he's a virgin. He's just hiding it from us. And I understand why people might think that, but it was also a challenge of mine in grade school and high school, and I think I moved past it now. But that was probably a difficult thing to sort of talk about.
I give you so much credit for really becoming so open about that in the book. You really don't hold back about your parents, the conversations you had about that too, because I think a lot of people go through that. I mean, I've had people in my life who just, wait for a long time to have sex, and people assume that or things like that. So did your parents know you were going to be kind of talking all about that in the book?
They had a little bit of a heads up. I honestly kept a lot of this to myself, and I didn't really want anybody's opinions of what I should share and shouldn't share. I wanted to be completely unfiltered in this. And I gave my parents a heads up about talking about the divorce just because I didn't want to, it's a book about me and my experiences, and their divorce did play a pretty big factor into my college years. So I wanted to share that. And I did talk to them about what I was going to share in there, and they respected it. And my dad was okay with it. And it's a learning experience for all of us, I think. And they're both happy now, and they're both understanding now, how it impacted me. And I think it's made our relationship even better.
Do you think there are going to be people that reach out to you when the book comes out? Not that there's anything like that, and like you didn't say anything horrible about anyone by any means, but that are going to reach out to you about anything you wrote about them or like their experience?
Yeah, I actually changed all the names of my high school friends in the book.
Nice.
Just because I didn't really want to include. I didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. I never know how fans or how people that read the book are going to react, and I just wanted to sort of keep them out of harm's way if I can. And so I changed all those names, but for the most part, I left all of the other names the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad to like watch that, because like people just assumed because he was a virgin that he was gay, and he kind of had to live with that for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, I read his book and obviously spoke to him around that time, and it was a pretty big theme in the book, a struggle with his sexuality. The only difference is the conclusion drawn in the book, or not, that he thought at the time was, I loved Cassie so much. Being the Bachelor kind of helped me realize that I am attracted to women, I'm attracted to Cassie, whatever. But in the book, he spoke about, growing up in high school, and there's a rumor about him being gay, and Googling things like, why am I not attracted to my girlfriend? Like, he had the thoughts, but then he just kind of repressed them. And now he's, opening up about it. And it's very interesting, because there are definitely themes that were in the book. It was just the conclusion that was different, which, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why maybe, but it is weird to watch that footage back and hear him talk about it.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, it even came up when he was on The Bachelor with Billy Eichner, when I mean, that clip has been resurfacing where Billy says, you could be the first gay bachelor. And you see like Colton doesn't really know how to react in the situation. He just starts like kind of like uncomfortably laughing. And now we know why. Right.
And he commented on that that clip went everywhere. And of course, Billy Eichner was like, I didn't know anything. Like, I was just whatever. And he's a comedian. And Colton commented like, I love this now, in parentheses. So like he's embracing it too. And, it's really wild. The internet always has, that clip took 10 seconds to resurface. It's like, people know everything.
They really do. I mean, it's like always in like the vault in their back of their minds. But yeah, so lots to talk about this week, and we broke it all down.
I don't know what's next.
I don't know what's next either. Oh my God. But it's like Bachelor news after Bachelor news after Bachelor news, and we're going to keep recapping it every single week. Sarah, who do you have on the podcast this week?
Oh, we're actually doing a little Summer House detour with Paige and Hannah from Summer House, and I'm talking to a neurologist to get some Bachelor scoop about what's going on inside their heads while they're filming. So we have a little bit of behind the scenes in a different way this week.
I like that. That's so fun. Well, make sure to check it out, and make sure everybody comes back to Us Weekly's YouTube channel every Tuesday for all of your Bachelor news. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and Sarah and I will see you next week.
Bye.